Hey everybody, Trolly Boy here, the troll you can trust, back with a Walking Dead roast map video, featuring an upcoming new game mode to the game, Faction Onslaught. Seeing as this is a global tournament, this will be the Walking Dead Road to Survival's first league tournament. This will be a faction versus faction style tournament, and I mean it. This is not a 6 vs 6 or 8v8, we are talking straight up war. Try 30v30, people. Yeah, heads will be rolling down hills like skiers and snowboarders at a resort in the middle of winter. This will extend beyond our region and anything cross-region based, which is a good thing, because fighting within my region is not fun anymore for me, as I've always been looking forward to a global scale. That's how I've always been. And the bigger the scale, then I see the #1 spot actually rotating. But before we dive into how Onslaught works, terminology needs to be addressed, so when buzzwords such as lives, energy, timing, and points, as an example, are used, you will know instantly what I'm talking about or referring to. First up is battles. Onslaught will consist of player versus player battles in which we can have teams up to 5. Now, up to seems to me we could potentially see a 3v3 or a 4v4 potential battles as well, which is a crazy new dynamic if that is implemented into the game. Next up is a match. Whenever we verse another faction, this process will be called a match. In every match, we will have multiple periods. That is the breakdown structure of Onslaught in a very vague sense. Now, let's just go a little bit deeper. There are 4 elements to Onslaught, being lives, energy, timing, and points. So let's look at lives. Lives is pretty standard to how it sounds. When a match starts, we will be given a number of lives. While you're attacking, you are only able to attack other enemies that have 1 or more lives remaining. Think of it compared to war, as you cannot attack an already destroyed camp. Also, you can only be attacked if you still have lives remaining. Even if you have 0 lives, you can still attack other players that have lives. I think of this as a great change, as we all know it sucks liquid ass being a general and dying in a war within the first minute or two, losing the chances to actually score more and spend the rest of your energy, sort of forcing you to coin. So this mechanic here is very awesome, and I feel was drastically needed, so that somebody cannot get the short end of the stick at the very get-go of a battle. Next up is energy. This is what we use to spend when we want to attack another player. At the start of every match, both factions receive the same amount of energy. The energy here works a bit different than other energies in the game. This energy does not regenerate based on time. Rather, you gain energy when you go into another period. Any unused energy you have when you go into the next period will carry over. Example is you start with 5 energy. You spend 1 of your energy and then you move on to the next period and you are then given 3 energy. You would then be at 7 energy. Just to let us know that there is also no cap on how much energy we can have. One thing to keep in mind is that any energy you have at the end of your match, meaning the faction you're battling with, it will not carry over into the next match, so it will then be reset. Third is timing. There are several phases to Onslaught when it comes to the timing portion of it. There's a queuing process, warm-up, periods, regrouping, and a cooldown. The first part is queuing, and it's just like war when we are queuing up. You know, whenever 6 people are joining, 8 people are joining. The warm-up period is just like the 2 to 3 minute scouting time in war once you know who you're facing. There's no attacking yet, but you can view the members of the faction so that you can alter your defenses. There is a set amount of periods for every match. This is when we are able to attack and start slicing the throats of our enemies. Just like in war, this is where you want to rack up as many points as possible and eliminate as many lives as possible as well. At the end of the last period, if neither faction is eliminated, then the match is finito, it's finished. Removing all lives from your enemy will grant your faction a win, but the match will end only at the end of that period, and not when you eliminate your enemy's last life. The eliminated faction has until this timer expires to retaliate and to eliminate the other side's lives. Remember, even if you have 0 lives, you can still attack. As stated here, for gaining the most amount of points possible, ending a match early, and retaliating when you're eliminated is the best way to earn points. The one thing that this post I might have overlooked, or it's just missing in general, is that it doesn't really say anything about the regrouping or the cooldown. So to me right now, that is a mystery. Now to points. This is what we strive for in Onslaught. Factions get points whenever they defeat an opponent. There are ways to gain more points, such as your first victory versus a player, and having more survivors stay alive for when the battle ends. There is also an opponent multiplier that will give you more or less points based on your enemy's highest team grade you are rating. There is also an opponent multiplier that will give you more or less points based on the enemy's highest team grade you are rating. I see this as a good thing, and so long that matchups don't screw up and actually matches factions equally. Another form of gaining points is our end of the match points. There's a thing called victory points, in which you get for eliminating every single life of the enemy faction. It also seems the more lives you have at the end will result in more points as well. Though I am not fully sure about this one, if it's just based on strictly having more than 0 lives, or it will tally up each life in your faction for more points. So since this is a league-based tournament, then the rewards would have to revolve around that as well, which is pretty cool. A big thing here, which you all should know, is that based where your faction is ranked in the leagues, will dictate the lives per player, energy gained per period, the timing, and the points you get, which we will refer to as a rule set. What does this mean exactly? So when your faction progresses to the next league, such as going from silver to gold, or gold to platinum, as an example, it will alter how many lives you start with, how much energy you gain when you go to the next period, and etc. Just know the higher you go in your league, it seems the more we get, thus giving us the chance of scoring more points. So going back to this point again, somebody in silver will have less energy than, say, somebody in diamond, if that kind of furthers the example a little more. Just like higher leagues having more expansive rule sets, we will also get better rewards. It seems there is a Onslaught-esque attachment to the faction leaderboard that you would see in your current stretch. And based where you place on there will dictate the rewards that will be dished out to you, which will be league trophies and league tokens. And coins. Here we talk about the matchmaking pairing, in which it will pair factions who are in a similar league as yours. It also says if matchmaking is taking longer than expected, we will be seeing a cross-region and all-out war similar matchmaking. So in this situation, you may be thinking, which rule set would we go based on? And the answer to that would be the faction in the lower league will dictate the rule set, meaning how many lives you get at the start, how much energy you get when you go to another period, etc., etc. Onslaught will be playable in the public beta 17.0, which may seem like it's a long way away since we are currently in 14.0, but we will be jumping straight from 14.0 to 17.0, which is awkward, but hey, looks like somebody skipped elementary school. So there you have it, everyone. The first look at what Onslaught will be like. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, to major lamp for anything positive, please give a nice karate chop to that like, subscribe button. Make sure to leave a comment down below. It's fortunately appreciated. And on that, I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye bye.